Alrighty, Diesel Weed People News one more time at it. Okay, not attorney, not giving legal advice. Never just look straight forward, always look around you, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Alrighty, this video I've done in the past, okay, but I have new subscribers, and it's something that we need to understand and need to see. My internet or my TV or something's not picking up, so it's going to be a little bit blurry, so you're going to have to listen to it. If you want to pause and look this up on your computer, read it as he is reading it to understand, okay? So when we proceed forward on this, that way you understand. Now, the one thing we haven't been doing, of course I haven't been going to court for some time now, but we have not been doing a glossary page. And I'm going to do a next video on the glossary page, okay? But by extension, all it is meetings of the minds with the courts and yourself to agree to the definition of words. That being said, they're not going to answer you, so therefore they're in silence of acquiescence. And by extension, they tacitly agreed to your definition of the words. So when you start playing these word games with them as they do to you, which what we're going to do is this right here first, because that's what's exactly are designed to do by the code, is to do trickery of words. That's the reason why attorneys go to court or college. They learn trickery of words. And so, therefore, by extension, this glossary is kind of covering you from the trickery of words they're using against you. So, I mean, it's ridiculous how this is. People, really, if you sit and think about it. But, you know, let's look at this code so we can kind of see what they are doing to us. Again, this is kind of a remake of a video that I did a long time ago, but new subscribers, and we all need to understand what the courts and attorneys are doing. And, by the way, our president, our Congress, our senators, our local government, everybody's playing these games, but me and you.
New, you haven't been on some of our calls. We do this webinar, so we just show visuals so that you can have a chance to type in any search bar. Computer is better than using the phone because then you can actually see the screens. But today, I'm going to, and also want those of you who are near a computer to type in any search bar. Just go in there and type in the word U.S. Code Section 1 or just U.S. Code 1. Okay? If you put that in your search window, you'll find Cornell Law is usually one of the most common sites that'll come up, and it's a good one for most sightings. And I want you to look this up, and I want you to go home and think about this. US1 USC 1. You can just even type that, 1 USC 1. And this is the first paragraph of the entire U.S. Code. So do you think it might apply to everything that follows it? It sure does. So let's take a look at what it says, maybe what it doesn't say, and what clue it gives you as to how things are going to go if you try to argue these codes with these people. Okay? So 1 U.S. Code, Section 1, words denoting number, gender, and so forth. Sounds like it could be just about anything, doesn't it? And so forth. Stop when you read this stuff. Don't read it fast. If you have to read it backwards, because you'll find that they will quite often tell you what's going on here. So,
well, we won't even stop there, right? So I would suggest if you make a copy of this, right, put right beside there and right in there. Absolute, vague, and ambiguous. Okay? Absolutely. So you just put that in there beside there. That way it gives you notice to and a reminder to yourself, forth, so forth, right? So once they put that in there, trickery of words. Okay? Now we're at absolute, vague, and ambiguous. Absolutely.
1 USC 1, words denoting a number, gender, and so forth. That's pretty open-ended. So what do they tell you here right off the bat? In determining the meaning of any act of Congress. Okay, here we go. In determining the meaning of any act of Congress. So you say Congress says this, well, let's make sure that is what it says. And then,
right there, comma.
this is the word, here's the phrase I want you to write this down, memorize it, put it on your forehead, remember it in everything you're looking at. Unless the context indicates otherwise, remember that, because there's a lot of things where the context does not indicate otherwise, then you assume you know what it means. They tell you right at the beginning how the game's to be played.
Yeah. So everything you're doing is by presumptions as well. So when you go into court, you say the sky is blue, but the judge says the sky is black because he never gave a particular time of day. Right? Less described. Otherwise, less described. We went into presumptions. We're talking about 3 o'clock in the afternoon that the sky's blue. We're under the presumption that he is thinking the sky is blue when it still could be a cloudy day at that day. Well, you just lied to the judge. You committed perjury.
Then it goes on and says words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things. Well, we could parse grammar, syntax grammar that thing, couldn't we? Words importing the plural include the singular. Well, that'd be a grammatical error, but hey, they set the rules that they can do that. Words importing the masculine gender, including the feminine as well. Words importing the masculine gender include the feminine as well. Well, that's kind of confusing. No wonder we're confused on that issue, aren't we? Words used.
Yeah, right there. Girl means boy, boy means girl. What do we see today's society? Boy means girl, girl means boy.
In the present tense include the future as well as the present. How about that one? So is it the future or the present? We know that in studying syntax, everything has to be in now time to even be contractual. Here, they're changing up the rules.
Right? Because what I use is the here and now.
In other words, they're leaving it open to interpretation. The words insane and insane person shall include every idiot, insane person, and person non compos mentis. Now, this is a good one because sometimes they'll say, you need a competency hearing. Maybe you're insane. Well, they can make just about anything fall into this category. And of course, insane is a negative preceding word, which means no sane, right? So there you go. IN is a no meaning word. The word person and whoever includes. By the way, when you see the word include, it doesn't mean it includes other things not listed here. It means it includes only what's listed here. Because if it included other things, they'd have to list those things too. This is a tricky one. Include is a really tricky one. People think, well, it also might include other things. Not if it doesn't say so. The word, because we're talking about legal stuff, right? The word in person and whoever include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. And when I click on the word individual, it goes into a little more detail about what that means. Go look that up. Officer includes any person authorized by law to perform the duties of the office. The office. Okay? Now, I watched the TV show The Office, and I think it's pretty funny. I didn't know that it had something to do with being an officer or a person, but it isn't.
right? Individual. Walmart supervisor is over the clerk of Walmart, but it's individual. But it's still, both of them are still one person because they're working for a corporate body.
Taming. Now you think what I just said is kind of strange, but actually that's sort of a strategy you can use with this stuff. Signature or subscription. Now this is one I get a lot of questions on about how do I sign? Well, when we syntax, we autograph. We don't do any of these things. But signature or subscription includes a mark. When the person making the same intended it as such. Okay, so you know that I intended this, right? But what if you qualify that mark? All rights reserved, under duress, without prejudice. Does that at least clarify what you intended? Darn right it does. But remember, if you just put a mark on there, they're going to consider it. You can put an X on there, it's still considered a signature.
Yeah, but when you put that X on there, right, it opens up to interpretation. So when you do without prejudice, with prejudice, all rights reserved, well, there's no prejudice. You are direct and clearly establishing your mark.
When you spell it out, it does help clear up the intent. Oath includes affirmation, and sworn includes affirmed. Now, I'll tell you, swearing is something when I was using bad language. And you think, well, but that's what they mean. That might be true, but do I know what they mean? Okay. Writing includes printing and typewriting and reproduction of visible symbols by photographing, multigraphing, mimeographing, manifolding, or otherwise. What's otherwise? Now, they leave a lot of open-ended stuff here. And this begins to play its way out throughout the entire...
And I just did a video about pretty much basically the same thing, the same definition of commercial. You see uniform commercial, right? Pretty much has the same writing in there. So by them doing that writing in there, it's basically telling you that it's all commercial because it's using the same exact definition as the commercial, the uniform commercial definition.
Code. And you'll find the same kind of thing going on in the state codes too. So don't think just because you're dealing maybe with the state issue, this doesn't apply. You can probably find at the beginning of your state statute something similar to this. It depends on what state you're in. But boy, there's a lot of qualifiers here that can manipulate whatever the language is any way they want to make it, isn't it? And is it terrible? Is it deceptive? Is it fraudulent? Well, yeah, in a way it is. I mean, that's why we call it fictitious conveyance of language. They start off by telling you they're going to do this. So if they do it, is it fraudulent or illegal? No. They gave you fair notice. They're going to use gobbledygook. So the question is do you understand what they're doing? Whoops. Do you? Somebody says they're not getting audio, but others are hearing, so I think we're good. Must be on your end.
Yeah. So they're giving you notice they're not going to be honest and they're going to use word magic against you.
Okay? So you guys, you see what I'm saying here? So this is the foundation we start with.